dad and dad decided to go off on their own today, and we're here to take over once again. We had a little kickback last time from the dad. Said we didn't have as many viewers as they used to have.
Back in their day.
Back in their day. I say we can see what happens this time. We'll bring it up again. We'll start off with some stats as usual. We'll let Jay take it over here.
All right, current stats: Santa Clara County single family homes 876.
Okay, so up about 200, 150?
150, I'd say.
Yeah, I think I'm seeing more homes come up in pockets that I didn't see before. Lots of new inventory coming up.
Yeah, we had a buyer, and we'll get into this conversation a little later about the SB 36 and stuff, but I had a buyer in contract about a month and a half ago. They're now back in the market looking for homes. In that time, and this is the condo and townhome market, I swear they only had about 60 homes in their search. There's about 170 now in their search. So just in the last month and a half, we have seen, or I've seen, you've seen.
Well, even on the seller side, I have a listing in Cupertino. When we were first kind of looking at comps and what else is on there, earlier this year, there was maybe 2 or 3. Yeah, there's 6 or 7.
So do we see then prices are increasing with inventory levels, or are we seeing inventory levels creeping and prices plateauing?
I'm seeing offer deadlines come and go, and no offers on properties. I think open house traffic has gone down. With more homes on the market, buyers are more widespread. They're pickier. They're seeing what they like and going for it. So some homes still getting 5 to 7 offers, but those 20, 30 offers that we used to see sometime last year or early this year, we are no longer seeing that.
Are you guys seeing more double weekends of open houses, 2 weekends instead of 1?
Yeah, I mean, once the offer deadline's gone and they go into the second weekend, one of my first questions is did you guys have an offer deadline? And they go yeah, but the sellers weren't around to make a decision. We got an offer, so they're scrambling and going for another weekend of open house.
Yeah, and give us what's going on with the 2 weekends this time on Apple Tree.
So we went through the first week. Got a few offers, just kind of not exactly where we were hoping for, but good offers. So seller's in a good spot where he's able to just kind of hang out and just hoping for another, kind of a higher price point. So we're in the 4s over there. So I kind of let him know, hey, these sometimes 4 and up's going to take a little longer sometimes, just because the buyer pool's a little smaller. Yeah. So we're in our second week of open houses. Kind of the same thing. We're seeing average about 10 groups, but just not that 50, 100, anything like that.
And you mentioned something there, and I know we've talked about it a lot too, especially on the listing standpoint of it, of just setting expectations. If we list at this price point, expect this, be okay with X amount of days on the market. Do you feel when you set the expectation in advance to going on for even the first weekend, do you have a better do you feel like you're getting better feedback from your seller throughout that process of whether or not the offers are coming in at what you said, or 2 weekends of open houses? How does that relay to sellers?
No, 100%. I think going in, part of the either interview or the marketing proposal or kind of whatever you're doing is expectations. And it's super dependent on each individual situation. Hey, where are you at in life? What are you trying to accomplish? Is it just retiring? I've been in this house for a long time. We have no mortgage. Just do the best you can. Or it's, some sort of motivated seller situation where I need a certain price for X number of reasons. But kind of talking about Alta Tierra, we had one in Los Gatos. That one was a bigger house, almost 7,000 square feet. The seller was very, how do I say this, adamant, or hey, I want a number, a specific number. So we do the math, we do some comps. Hey, based off what the goal is, it's going to take about this long. And we said it's going to take about 45 days. And sure enough, about day 42, we got the full price offer.
And it's nice because you don't get pushback week 2 in.
No,
they don't think that they should have had the offer immediately. You put that out in advance. And then again, on the buy side, same thing, setting expectations before you start looking at homes, before you start getting on those home searches. How are you handling that?
Yeah, I mean, each week is different. One week you might have 3 homes and you want to place an offer on every home, or another week where you see a bunch of homes and you don't like any of them. So we got to take it week by week and just know it's a process, right? There's no point of rushing into a wrong decision. So,
yeah.
So yeah, it's just about patience, and patience is key. And finding the right one that speaks to you and then going all out for it is the way to go.
So do you have any certain conversations that you have with buyers as you go into offer scenarios, or even, I would say my biggest expectation that I set with home buyers is when you walk into an open house, the number that you see isn't necessarily the number that it's going to sell for. Like, how do you explain more on like setting an expectation to a buyer when they walk into an open house and see that initial sales price?
So list price is nothing but a suggestion, just a strategy of getting people through the door. And then once a number of people like it and then they place offers, that's how sales price is determined, right? List price or sales price totally depends on strategy. Some people have priced it super transparently and it may not sell within the first weekend, or they've priced it too high where it will take a few weekends and a few price reductions, have that seller come down to a realistic number and then eventually sell for what it's worth. So each property sells for what it's worth, not what it's listed for, right? And that's what we have to come up with a plan of, like how much is this property worth, and ignore the noise around it, right? And oftentimes it just comes down to interest and activity. Comps are historical data, so comparable sales around the neighborhood is something we can rely on, but that may not be the true indication of what may happen in terms of offer deadline and what kind of price points they get at deadline, right? For example, Jan and Feb data is super inflated. Right now, there's a little bit of softness in the market where not all-time highs are being achieved in neighborhoods. So that's something that you have to kind of take it from a case-by-case point of view and then analyze what kind of a time period we're in, and a lot of buyers feeling that pressure of stocks going down. So yeah, that list price is just nothing but a strategy.
So in regard to what we're talking about with home buyers, setting the expectations up front, I think, and I know Jason, because we're working with more first-time home buyers now, we're seeing them walk through the open houses and stuff. I think for us to be able to guide them in that aspect of what an asking price is to what it could sell for, keeps buyers motivated in this market. I feel like one of the biggest demotivators or the biggest stress handlers is getting completely blown out in an offer scenario, kind of blindsided. You walk in, oh, it's going to go for this. It goes for 400 grand higher. Well, okay, the person might have put the asking price very aggressively. And that's what I think takes buyers out of the market.
Yeah. How was your listing on Meadow Glen?
Oh, yeah.
How did that go?
Yeah, we had listed a property last week on Meadow Glen. This is in East San Jose near Silver Creek. The one...
I saw you running from the sliding door all the way till the fence.
Oh my gosh.
It got smaller and smaller.
And the power pull as well.
The 50-yard backyard. It's interesting. That property not only brought out the first-time home buyers, but brought out all the investors, the people who think that they can add 2 ADUs into the backyard. We had a business professional with a sporting complex who said that they can have strength and training facility in the backyard.
How big is the backyard?
It's 11,000 square feet total.
Wow.
So,
And the house is how big?
about 1,400. Fully updated home. So again, move-in ready for every first-time home buyer who comes in. And I think that's something that, our team really excels in, is being able to put in the upfront costs to renovate and remodel a home to make sure it is livable and first-time home buyer friendly. And I think in some of these areas that we get into, obviously Los Gatos, Cambrian are a little different. People are, tend to be second-time home buyers or have more of a down payment. You get into these areas, East San Jose, Silver Creek, where first-time home buyers are coming in usually sometimes below 10%. We've seen FHA loans, 20% or lower. It's
they don't have the money to work with and put
in their own home to update it. So if we provide them this property move-in ready, it creates a premium. It creates more of an attraction for home buyers to come in knowing peace of mind. We can put down all the money and then 30 years later it'll be paid off. It's not we need to put down money and then go and liquidate $100,000 to redo the roof, the foundation, the windows.
Yeah.
So I think
a cool thing we do is also we upfront the money.
Yeah.
Then you can pay us back at close of escrow. So
with no interest included.
Absolutely.
No interest included. So I think that and the size a lot is going to bring in a heavy load of buyers. Again, we priced it a little lower, 1.2. Could we see it going 1.4? Sure. But if we listed at 1.4, again, I think we would have decreased the amount of attraction and foot traffic that have come through. And I think we're all under the same page. I know Aaron is as well. Mark might be a little different, but we like to price more aggressively create that sense of urgency, get as many offers as possible, and then from there, jack it up.
How many people did you have through the open house?
This week we had 160 people through.
And how many people have looked at disclosures?
About 50 something.
And how many offers do you expect out of that?
I'm hoping 10, at least 10. But again, this is, you look at a situation where a first-time home buyer or a home buyer in general walks into that open house, sees 160 people walking around, everyone's in commotion looking at it. It's stressful going into an offer situation. Yeah. You walk in with Jeet, Jason, or me, based on either the relationship we have or the knowledge we know in the market, we can probably put you exactly where you need to be. So that stress or that thought of, oh, where's it going to go? That's not a thought anymore. It's, again, an expectation going into it.
Yeah. Isn't it a crazy misconception that an agent, all they do is send you properties, right? On the buy side. Like, my agent sends me properties, I go look at it, and that's about it. That's all their value is. But there's so much more to that, right? Mm-hmm. It's walking through the property, identifying red flags, coming up with an offer strategy, leveraging agent relationships. Like just last week, I closed on a property where we won by $2,000 because I knew the other agent. He gave me a call. He's like, hey, here's the number, and just be $2,000 higher. And that's literally how we won the property. Like we were second in line out of 4 or 5 offers there. So leveraging those relationships, being with a person that's in this industry day in, day out, and knows what they're doing and can guide you every step of the way.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting point there too, because I think a lot of times buyers question, why work with the buyer's agent when I can just walk into an open house and I can use the seller to write the contract up.
Absolutely. It's like working with a lawyer that's fighting for both you and the opposition. Mm-hmm. That's not possible. I mean, it is possible legally. In California, dual agency is allowed, but it's not in your best interest.
And I think a lot of times buyers feel like they're gonna save money by purchasing through the actual agent. Again, since last year, we know the law has changed. Buyer agent commission is now responsible on behalf of the buyer unless negotiated otherwise between the seller. Which again, I have yet to be in a situation where my buyers ever come out of money. And I think between us three, we've probably closed 30 deals plus since that law has gone into effect. I have a rebuttal to that. I think that if you work with the selling agent, you overpay for a home. Why? Because you tend to not ask questions when we tell you what you need to offer. We see the offers come in. What's to say they're not saying we need to go 50 grand higher instead of someone coming to you and saying 2 grand higher?
Absolutely. I mean, that's their first and foremost goal is to get the sellers the highest amount possible for their property, and secondary is to get you the property. Yeah. Right. So that's a common misconception.
Yeah. And I think the same relates to the sell side. Kind of the question that you asked. What do you do besides sticking a post in the yard? Again, the liabilities that we protect, the team that we have on our back, the documentation that needs to be provided, the negotiation tactic on the side of the seller, the amount of work that it took to get the call from that seller to put that sign in the yard in itself, it could be years. You could be following up with someone for a decade. You have a seller that you recently spoke to that said, we're not going to be ready to sell for another year.
Oh, yeah.
So are you just going to take the year off and not follow up with them?
Not at all.
So during this
once a month for a year,
follow up, studying the market, sending comps. These are all things that when we do get the call to stick that sign in the yard, why our value is worth what it is. So I think that was a great point right there. And I think what you're doing on your side of the selling side is also a great point of why it's so valuable to have a selling agent like you. When it comes to buyers and sellers, we'll stick with it. Buyers and sellers going into Q2 now. What are your expectations on where this market's going to go with, again, not to get in political views or anything, but with what's on the news, where our economy's at, stock market's tanking a little bit. I had a client recently tell me he's down $10 million in the stock market.
That hurts.
Oh my God. Did he have it all in Tesla?
Had it all in NVIDIA. So again, a lot of these are bouncing up and rebounding, but what are buyers and sellers now considering going into Q2 when it comes to offering or listing? What are you guys hearing or seeing?
As I mentioned, I think people taking a step back, people that were, they have a life event or they have some proceeds like doing a 1031 exchange and they are on a timeline to buy. They're still going out there buying and doing their thing. But first time home buyers buyers really impacted by this recent drop in stock prices. I have a client who was pre-approved for 2.5, and then recently he's had a 30% loss on his Amazon stock's gone down, and now he's looking at 2.1 or 2.2, right? So a lot of this first-time home buyer group of buyers are being impacted by this recent stock market dip.
First-time home buyers, and I say our generation. I would say the age between 25 and 35 who are looking for homes. Again, I have a lot of friends who have been in the market, looking at homes, not necessarily like serious in writing, but looking at homes, saving through their stock, through their current job to get that down payment to afford the mortgage that they want. That is hindering us, is the stock market collapsing. That is hurting our first-time home buyer generation to have that money, I think, to put down as a down payment.
Yeah, I think this is a great time, though. Right now, a lot of people in that bucket, and there are fewer people that are like ready to go, that are maybe sitting on cash. So I have a few buyers that liquidated back in December when the stocks were higher, and they have more of a down payment to work with. And I'm like, guys, this is the time to strike, right? Like right now, there's a little bit of softness in the market, fewer offers to compete with, more inventory to choose from. Now is the time to strike, right? There's uncertainty as to what's going to happen in Q2 based on, what happens with tariffs. So no one really can predict how the market's going to go. But right now has been the best time in the last 6 to 8 months, or if not longer, to buy a house, right? Do you agree?
I would say depending on the location, yes. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen
95124, Los Gatos, like West San Jose.
Dropping in offers.
Yeah, like there's more competition amongst people. Even Fremont's typically super hot right now. Prices have been stable. Some areas where things haven't changed at all, San Carlos. 20 offers, 22 offers, 12 offers, and they're going 500,000, 700,000 over asking.
Well, it's interesting too, because those areas aren't expanding in inventory as quick as these areas.
That's right. Fewer homes that come up on the market for sale. Like in a pocket, there might be still 1 or 2 homes. Not a lot of people are selling homes over there. They're just multi-generational.
Well, what's it like in Scotts Valley right now? So we've gone from the Bay all the way now to the ocean.
The ocean.
So what do you see that's kind of different in retrospect from here to there?
Yeah, from here to there. Over there, you're not seeing stuff go as high over ask. It's a lot more transparent pricing. So just kind of looking at single families from Scotts Valley, Aptos, even Capitola, everything's either right at where it should go or a little over, and they're going under. There's also a lot of inventory there, so kind of the same thing with the buyers. I have the same scenarios. They're either full-blown pausing. They are not as approved for as much as they were. Their budget's a little smaller now. Had some clients in West San Jose, pre-approved for around 3, and then now we're talking like 2.6, 2.7, just because of what's recently happened. But then another thing that's interesting is I have another couple that we're looking at a bunch of, these are the Scotts Valley folks, so we're looking at a bunch of stuff over there, but there's so much to choose from. We're going into some of these offers. The conversation is more like, how bad do you want this one? Is this, I need it like 10 out of 10? Or is this, if we get it at the right price, you want it? And a lot more of those conversations. So G's been helping me with kind of like how we do pricing strategies on listings. We've been doing pricing strategy not on offers.
Yeah, it's like, how much do you love it? Do you love it? You can't miss out on it. Then there's a certain price one you should go in at. If I would love to have it, but I don't want to compete, then there's another offer that you should put in. Or like, hey, I want to just throw my hat in, see if it works, then there's a different price point you go in at, right? So have your offer price and your the way you draft your offers reflect your motivation towards that property.
Yeah. So let's real quick debunk the pause. So we have buyers who are, Jeet says this is a great time to buy, market softening, and then we have buyers who want to pause. So what is the reason? What are they waiting for? What is the pause for? Or what is going to get them moving again?
I think just it's certainty in the market, or uncertainty in the market is the pause. So two factors are what I'm getting as far as response. Because basically when buyers say pause, like I always say, hey, can you unpack that? Like what is it? One of them was like layoffs at jobs. Okay. So they were kind of worried about job stability. which is totally understandable. And then the second one is just certainty of the market. Hey, I'm not sure what's happening right now. I just want to hang back and see. So pause. You know, kind of on Jeet's point, I'm kind of in more Jeet's camp where like, hey, if we can get, you know, a good house for a good deal and the market say rebounds like later this year or this summer, you know, we've baked in some equity right out the gate as opposed to waiting. Maybe there's some more competition and those prices are going a little higher. So, to answer your question, job, layoff, uncertainty, and then just overall uncertainty in the market.
And mixing still, you know, relatively higher interest rates, right? We're still sitting at 6.5%, 7% for rates. So affordability is fairly low right now.
Yeah.
Especially with those stocks going down. Down payments have been affected, and affordability from a monthly point of view is also affected. What do you think, Ben?
And I think I said this in the previous podcast, whenever my clients or buyers want to go into a pause, I usually just try and narrow down their locations to areas where they truly feel like this is the right location. And I know it's so cliche to say location, but it's true. You really can't change the location. You can tear down a house and rebuild it, but you're not going to change that neighborhood. I think when buyers tend to pause, they need to understand the neighborhood that they're looking for, keep an eye on it, and know that the 10 out of 10 on their list usually is not going to be able to be hit, or everyone else is going to be in the same boat and offering. I think if you're okay with 5 or 6 out of the 10 on your list, you're able to put in those other items, the location is right, I'm with Jeet. I think there's no better time to make that purchase because, again, if we had a crystal ball and we can tell you when interest rates are going down, the market is going to pop again. If you can get in before interest rates go down in the location you want to be, sure, you're going to have to bite a bullet for a couple months, maybe a year, live in a home that maybe might not be to your expectation because you have an older bathroom, you don't have a dishwasher, certain things that, you know, you have been looking for, but now you just need to get in and get it. I think in a year from now, 2, 3, who cares what it is? It's all going to pay off. I think you're there long enough. And again, I think that's a question that most of us ask our buyers is, what's your goal? Are you going to be here for 3 years? Are you going to be here for 5 years? Are you going to be here for 10 years? And I think the one thing that we really pride ourselves on is being fully transparent with our buyers. If you tell us you're going to be here for 3 years and we don't think this is the home for you, we will talk you out of the home before talking you into the home. You know, if the goal is 10 years and you have that longevity to stay here, it's very hard to try and guess where the market's going to be without just getting in it and writing it out. And again, yes, I can go back to job situations. You know, what if, you know, you lose your job? Is your job secure? Yes, take that into consideration. I think making sure you have a secure job. And again, having a secure job means that you can ride out any market wave. Let's say the market crashes. Again, I think, and Jacob, throw up a screen for us here. The market goes like this and it goes like this, but it's always going up. So even if you were in the market, you see the price come down lower than what you got it for, all good. Okay. You still have your job. You're still making a payment that you're comfortable with. Write it back up and you're going to be fine. I think people in their head have this is a home. This is not a stock. You know, you can't just expect to sell before it drops or sell and take a... You got to ride this out. This is a long-term game, especially in California. And I think the word investment is very rare to use. It's a home, somewhere where you can go to at night, have dinner with your family, somewhere you can come back from vacation and know you're walking into your roof. I think it's hard for buyers to think this is like an investment. We're going to make a lot of money. You want to be here to buy a home. That's the goal. Be here, buy a home.
Yeah. And then think about it, the investment aspect when you go to sell it, right? This is a good time to sell. And that's what, would you say it's a good time to sell right now?
Anytime between February and May, I think is a great time to sell. And I think, you know, when it comes to when the best time to sell is, we can give you more information and clarity on that than we can on a buyer. Obviously, we can look at the comps and we can look at the market and the stats and tell you whether or not, you know, selling now compared to July, I can tell you're going to sell more now than you are in July. Buy side, obviously anything could change. We got to work off comps, activity, inventory. Great time to sell.
I agree. I think if inventory keeps on going up, I think sooner the better. If not, towards the end of the year, we might see lesser competition, but then lesser buyers as well. So this year, probably sooner the better. But yeah, I think this year is going to be very robust in terms of number of transactions, right? I think we're going to see a lot more transactions happen than last year. Would you agree? I'm seeing more homes come up this year and more variety of options than I saw last year. Last year, there were very limited options.
Yeah, I think sellers, especially right now, I think they're at a point where interest rates have stayed where they are for so long. I mean, we were looking at that Instagram post I had the other day. I think it was of Aaron back in 2021 when we were talking about interest rates going from 2.5 to 3.25. And I was like, oh my God, my hell's 3.25.
Hell's breaking loose.
So it's like from there to where we're at now, I think sellers are comfortable. I think they you know, if they didn't sell 2 years ago when the interest rates were at 5.5, 6, and you know, why not sell now? You're at the same point. If you're going to be comfortable to sell and move into your next home, you know, the interest rates aren't coming back down to 3.5 or 4. It's not like you're going to sell and then jump into something less. It's just what the market is. And I think that's what you have to, as a home buyer or a seller, just understand the market is what the market is. We can't control the uncontrollables. All we can do is put the property in the best light and market it properly. And as a buyer, do our due diligence to make sure you're getting the best price point for your living situation.
Last podcast, we made predictions as to when the next market crash is going to be. And so Jason and I had our thoughts. What do you think?
Market crashes in like where interest rates come all the way back down,
like
or just
a 2008 style crash? Like when do you think?
Or big correction?
Or is that even going to happen?
I personally do not think that will ever happen here. A few reasons. I don't think interest rates are ever going to come back down to 3 again. I think banks in their pre-approval process is so much more stronger, and there's so many more guidelines that buyers just can't walk in and just buy a home. And I don't think we have enough inventory here in San Jose, especially, to where we can ever see a massive correction like that. I see people holding their homes here and renting them before ever selling them. And I think that all has to do with that 2.5%, 3%. 85% of Santa Clara County has got a 2.5%, 3%. So why not purchase anher home and then rent yours out?
Interesting.
It's like free money.
So David said it could be sooner rather than later.
Okay.
He said it could be within the next, basically the next 4 years are unpredictable.
Okay.
It can happen, it can't happen, but no one really knows. What did you say, Jace?
I think I said 10.
You said 10 years?
Yeah.
I said 2031.
2031.
Just a random guess.
But he said it so confidently. We're like, ooh, he knows something we don't know.
Have you guys seen, and maybe this has to do with a crash or a coming of a crash, that more companies, and we talked about this a couple podcasts ago, like Rocket Mortgage acquiring Redfin. I think something just came out yesterday. Mr. Cooper bought.
Mr. Cooper?
It's another financial company. I think like a bank. They purchased another home evaluation website or whatever. So they're just incorporating a loan, agent, purchase, sell all into one category.
Like a super app.
Correct.
Yeah, everyone's trying to make a real estate super app, like from home buying to mortgage to refinance, everything.
Would that create a crash quicker than, or a correction quicker than just the public doing it? Because they're just trying to manipulate and streamline everything down one line? Because then that means they would have control over price points and purchase price points, right?
I think they'll have control over the data. I don't think they'll be able to control what the market does, perhaps.
I agree.
They would be able to, make it all in one app, and there would be still a lot of competition. I mean, Rocket Mortgage acquiring Redfin is
Red Rocket
is probably one of the closest things to getting towards or building towards a super app that we have seen. Because Redfin is pretty strong as a search platform, and Rocket Mortgage, it has the financial tools to help and facilitate that. So I think that's the closest we have been, and both of them combining to work on it more and more would be the closest to a super app that we would see, or the leading people to build a super app.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
super apps.
Super apps. You had some cool things for us today.
Oh, yeah. So I like these big, like Mark's got his top 10. I like these big...
There's Mark. There's our dad.
These national polls. So...
2 snacks, huh?
There he is.
My lunch.
coming in.
Hey, Dad.
Right in the middle. Say hi to the viewers.
April Fools.
I'm coming in, April Fools.
We're doing photos and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Quick cameo.
And the Mark cameo.
In the market. Let's hear them.
Okay, so I like looking at these national polls and then applying them to our market and say, hey, are we kind of like in the same trend? Or is things different? We'll get your guys' thoughts. So I'll read the poll. You guys kind of guess and let me know if it's similar here or different. So 2024 national home buyers' time from when they started searching for a house and then they actually bought the house. How long in weeks did it take for them when they started searching to when they got something?
Is this national average?
National average. And we'll see if it's
I'll
different
go
here.
for 8 weeks.
8
I
weeks.
was literally going to say 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm going to have to be right there.
10 weeks.
Close.
Makes sense.
That's pretty close.
So we're right on the money.
Yeah.
We're not faster here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some
Well,
of my-
here. Yeah. Okay. Hold on a second. Here. I have clients who don't even look at a home. They're just writing off.
once
I'll
it gets
take it.
accepted, we'll
Where's
we'll
the
go in.
super app? I'm just going to hit buy.
It's I think if you're a buyer here, and maybe this could be for more second-time home buyers. If you're a second-time home buyer and you know the neighborhood you're going into, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You're more than likely going to snag something.
I think 2.5 months is still pretty reasonable for our time, for our market. Like I have some clients looking for 6 to 8 months, and then some where we find homes in 2 weeks. So I think the average kind of would fall in that 2.5 months. But I've had clients look for 18 months. I think there's another statistic that I read that from the time you think about buying a house, it would take you 18 months to buy the house.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So from the first time you ever have the thought of buying a house, it would take you 18 months. So that could be such a long journey, and a portion of that I think would be like actually visiting a house.
And it's interesting
making
to
offers.
it's interesting to hear 2.5 months or 10 weeks in other areas of the United States. Because their inventory levels are absolutely insane. I feel like you have everything at
Tons
your
of
fingertips.
options.
You can choose whatever you want. Let's talk about Austin, Texas. The amount of homes they have out there, I feel like.
Over 8,000 or something.
So it's like, why would it take then 10 weeks if you have all these options? And I know they're not selling quick. I know they're not getting multiple offers.
I think there's a learning curve, right? You start, you look at homes,
Yeah.
you kind of develop your taste, because very rarely is it that when we first meet for a consultation and the criteria you get is what you end up buying. You end
100%.
up buying in a totally different city or a totally different thing.
Or
You
price
buy-
point changes.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want to buy anything with a pool. Then you end up buying something with a pool because you like the pool, right? So there's a lot of things like your taste changes as you go. So I guess it takes a few weeks, if not a couple months, to develop that. So that makes sense.
Or you think like, I don't want to buy something more than 1.6, and then you look around, you're like, I need to go to 2 million
Exactly.
because of your taste.
That's my favorite line. We won't go higher than 1.5. We need to submit on this home. It's 2 million.
All right.
Say no more.
It's the one, Ben.
Yeah, Ben, don't send me anything over 1.5. What do you think about this $2.2 million home?
Where did you find this? Zillow? Why? How did you? Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Any other polls? That was a good one.
I got a couple.
Yes, sir.
So, percentage of people that their first step in the home buying process is an internet search. So, not reaching out to an agent, going straight to the internet search. How many people, so out of 100%, what percentage goes straight to
97%.
Yeah.
97?
97.
43.
What?
I was shocked.
What? I feel like if you're Zillow or Redfin listening to this, you're doing a poor job of marketing.
43.
Like-
So, I mean, that kind of talks about the super app. 43% first stop was an internet search for their home.
I
Less
find
than
that,
half.
I find that actually very good for us real estate agents.
Yeah.
Just,
I don't know.
Really?
Just
Surprising.
food for thought.
That's surprising.
That is surprising.
I've probably only had a handful of people come to me before, like, hey, I don't know, I've never seen a house on the internet before.
Yeah.
Like, where do I look at? They always go like,
I wonder if it's not like straight to the search. I wonder if it's, hey, let me hit up, Jeet or Ben, talk about like, maybe getting with a lender first or something like that if you're, schooled up, and then we get on the internet and see what's up. I don't know.
yeah, that's possible. That's possible. That's possible. But yeah, that's surprising.
46%.
I would have definitely thought more than 7.
43%.
Oh, yeah.
43%. Less than half.
Okay.
All right. Next
next?
one. During those internet searches, excuse me, top 3 most valuable characteristics of the search. So when you're looking at a house, what top 3 things of the house are the most appealing to you on the
Lot size.
Photos. Top. I would say first thing photos.
So
Then maybe the beds and butts.
So photos number 1, property description number 2, and then last one?
Location.
Nope.
Map.
Nah. I won't give you that.
That was close, I feel.
3D floor plan.
Okay, this is another reason why you need to work with an agent who puts out and invests in your property just as much as you should. We provide all of our sellers with 3D Matterport tour plan. We said this the other time. How do you purchase a $2 million home and you've only walked through for 15 minutes? Yeah. It's taking me longer to purchase a car, test drive a car, than it is to purchase a home. So I think that is extremely important.
That's also, I think, there's a in the agent pool, like on the agent side, there's a big divide. Some people hate it because they're like, that prevents them from coming into the house and taking a look in person. And other people are like, no, I would love for them to see it whenever they like.
I think you're laying home. It's 9 o'clock. You're just like on your phone. You're like, let me go back through the house. And you didn't take a video or something like that.
Exactly. I think it really helps after your visit. You know, like you're like, oh, where was the closet in that room, right? And you just
Did it have a
pinpoint.
fridge? I don't remember.
my biggest one is did it have a washer dryer? You know, when we're writing offers and you have to put down what's included and what's excluded. One of the key things I always forget is washer dryer.
So you go back through the photos.
Exactly. The photos, the Matterport, it really is helpful.
You know, if the washer and dryer is in a location that I find most appealing, like a garage, you might not be able to find that washer dryer.
Or if you're Italian, in the kitchen.
In the kitchen. I saw a washer dryer room in a master bedroom in Willow Glen the other week.
Interesting.
Like, walked in the bedroom.
See, I love that. Convenient.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Go ahead. Give it to me.
You come home after a long workout at night. You start the wash. You want to go to bed. Does that not annoy the
Ooh, I didn't think that far ahead. You
know what I mean?
My first thought was convenience from taking that load out of the dryer.
I agree.
Folding it and putting it in your drawers.
I agree. But we have a laundry bin for that. You can walk your ass to the garage, pick it up, put it in your laundry bin, and walk it right.
Good.
Oh,
that was good, Ben. I went right off the top. Okay. That's a good
I like
point.
the hallway. The hallway is a perfect location. You know, like
Stacked or side by side?
Side by side.
With a little closet on top so you can fold and put stuff?
Right. Like,
what about risers underneath the washer dryer? So it's a little taller. You have to bend down as far.
Ooh,
that's a thing.
That's premium. That's
premium.
Now, when you
that's called loggia.
When you see a washer dryer in the hallway, do you, and I know buyers don't.
Where are we going with this, Jacob? We're going on a weird subject.
This is good.
You prefer GE or Electrolux? Sorry.
Washer dryers in the hallway. Do you ever look in the disclosures to see where it's venting out of?
No. I just look at it in person.
Saw that the other day. Hallway washer dryer, venting in the attic. No vent outside the house. So it didn't go, and there wasn't a hole on the side of the house to where it vented. Vented in the attic.
Oh, usually it goes through the attic and then through
out the vent.
Usually looked just to confirm. No venting outside, just in the attic. So it's just splurring around.
But that's a simple fix. You can extend the pipe, have it go vent out. But yeah, that's something you find out after you buy the house.
Yeah. Well, now that we figured out which our washer dryer tendencies are like.
What do we got this week, event-wise?
All right. So for all of our clients, friends, family who are listening to this podcast, we obviously hope to see you on Thursday. We have our second movie night of the year, Minecraft.
That's going to be a cool movie. Kid-friendly, adult-friendly. It'll be super sick.
Suggested it, picked
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah. That's going to be a
no-brainer.
The trailer looks amazing. I'm excited for that.
Excellent. And then preceding that, we'll start to get into some of our music in the parks as we enter the summer.
Ben's favorite.
We'll bring that up a little later on.
We'll have some cool restaurant partners partnering for food.
And if you're listening to this, we actually have a competition going on right now. And it's not for us, it's for all of our viewers. If you send us a Google review, and I think it closes this week. If you send us a Google review, you will be automatically entered into a $500 gift card prize. You didn't have to work with us, just something good to say about us, and we will still enter you in.
Or if you've been to a client event.
Absolute
movie night, music in the park,
Yeah.
casino night.
And to cap it off, as always, when choosing your real estate agent,
Who you work with
Matters.